Welcome, Aries, both the bold newcomers and the longtime fiery veterans to Zodiac Talks Tarot, your favorite corner of the universe where astrology meets psychology, with a pinch of Buddhist clarity and just enough cosmic sass to keep things interesting. Today, we're diving into something the mainstream astrology world hasn't really touched because, let's face it, they're still distracted by Mercury's mood swings. But you, dear Aries, are about to feel the heat in a way that only you, the chosen ones of the Zodiac, can. On July 28th, a rare Venus-Chiron sextile opens a portal, no, not the kind with glowing lights and alien voices, but a deeply personal one. This isn't an Instagram-friendly portal with crystal emojis. This is a spiritual MRI scan straight to the core of your identity. And guess what? Chiron is in Aries. That's your house. This isn't just cosmic weather. This is soul-level surgery, and you're on the operating table with the universe as your surgeon scalpel made of stardust, of course. Venus, lounging in Gemini like that one friend who always flirts their way into your business, aligns with Chiron and says, "Hey, let's poke that emotional bruise." Suddenly, you're remembering that time in 7th grade when your gym teacher made you run laps in the rain, or why you hate selfies even though you look amazing. That's not just nostalgia. That's activation. The emotional ripples moving through you now aren't random, they're redesigned to show you where the wound lives. And yes, Aries, I know you'd rather charge forward than sit around feeling things. But this portal is here to ask you nicely, before it gets real loud, what needs healing before Chiron goes retrograde on July 30th. Consider this your cosmic last call before the 5-month inner excavation begins. So before you rush off to conquer the world again, take a breath. Because right now, the universe isn't asking you to fight, it's asking you to feel. And that, my fiery friend, is your real battlefield. Now listen, Aries, this isn't your typical take a salt bath and manifest under the moonlight kind of transit. No incense, no spa playlist, no cute astrology meme to scroll past. What we've got here is a full-blown identity recalibration, and the cosmos isn't whispering, it's practically yelling your name. As someone who's spent decades studying the psychological layers of the zodiac and meditating on the deeper truths woven through Buddhist insight, let me be crystal clear, this Venus-Chiron sextile isn't fluff. It's a sacred call to shed the old skin, the one that's been clinging to the story that you have to do something to be someone. That narrative? It's exhausted. And quite frankly, the universe is ready to move on. So should you. This moment in time is about reintroducing yourself to yourself. But not the hyperactive, glory-chasing, adrenaline-loving warrior version. No, this is about the real you underneath the armor. The one that maybe, just maybe, doesn't need to prove their worth in every room they walk into. Imagine that, Aries. Sitting still. Not saving the world for 5 minutes. Radical, right? Venus, cruising through clever Gemini at 26 degrees 53 minutes. Links up with Chiron at 27 degrees 09 Aries in a rare sextiline alignment, as smooth and healing as your favorite comfort food but with none of the guilt. This is no ordinary vibe. This is the celestial equivalent of the universe giving you a gentle high five while handing you a mirror and saying, "Hey, you're actually enough, exactly as you are." Wild concept, I know. This isn't about emotional drama or overanalyzing your trauma into oblivion. This is repair work. Subtle, deep, overdue. It's about building a bridge from your inner child, who just wanted to be loved for existing, to your current self, who's tired of proving they're not broken. The question is, are you brave enough to cross it? And more importantly, can you cross it without trying to race to the other side? Because this time, Aries, the real victory is in slowing down, feeling the ground beneath you, and finally claiming the truth: you don't have to earn your existence. You already belong. Let's talk timing, Aries, and I say this with love. not as someone trying to slow your roll, but as someone who's spent decades studying the Zodiac, diving deep into psychology, and finding a few spiritual truths through Buddhist teachings, and yes, probably a few too many cups of tea while staring at birth charts. Here's the deal, the universe doesn't run on your calendar. It doesn't care that you penciled in emotional growth for next Thursday after leg day. Nope. It shows up unannounced, like that one friend who always texts outside your house with no warning. Right now, Mercury is retrograde in Leo, your fire cousin who also thinks subtlety is for cowards. Meanwhile, Chiron, that cosmic healer sitting in your sign, is about to turn inward. What does that mean? It means this is the moment where the universe kindly but firmly asks you to find the words for pain you've never spoken out loud. Not perform it, not hide it behind sarcastic jokes or a 40-hour work week, but actually say it. The narrative where your pain is a motivator? Outdated. It's time to admit that your wounds aren't just fuel for your ambition, they're sacred clues to who you're becoming. And guess what? You don't have forever. From July 25th to July 30th, we're in a cosmic pressure cooker. This is your 5-day window, your emotional renovation deadline, if you will. Think of it as upgrading your inner armor so it actually fits and doesn't cut off circulation every time someone criticizes you. Now, if you're having weird flashbacks, mood swings, or if that one sad song from high school is suddenly hitting like it was written just for you, you're not losing it. That's Chiron whispering, "Hey, still here." These aren't breakdowns, they're breakthroughs in disguise. You're not unraveling. You're decoding. You're not a mess. You're a myth in revision. Chosen ones like you don't stumble into healing, they chase it down, wrestle it, and then, eventually, hug it like a long-lost friend. So maybe, just maybe, pause long enough to hear what your soul's been trying to say all along. Let's cut straight to the core, Aries, because you're not the type to beat around the bush anyway. One of the trickiest traps for you, dear fire starter of the Zodiac, is this: you've built an identity around doing, fixing, fighting, and let's be honest, sometimes even bleeding, all in the name of proving your worth. You play the hero in everyone else's story, but when it comes to your own, you ghost yourself. Now, as someone who's spent decades studying the intricacies of the Zodiac, peeling back psychological layers, and sitting cross-legged with more than one hard truth, let me tell you, this pattern is your Chiron wound talking, not your destiny. You see, Aries wounds aren't surface level, they go deep, down to your core sense of identity. The belief that you must earn love, respect, even rest, by constantly pushing, proving, and performing. That's not spiritual discipline, it's burnout disguised as bravery. And I know the phrase "being is enough" probably made you roll your eyes so hard your ancestors felt it. But that's exactly why you need to sit with it. Let it itch. Let it burn a little. Because freedom is found on the other side of that discomfort. And here's the kicker: if you keep finding yourself in the same cycles, ignored, overextended, looked to for leadership but rarely held or nurtured in return, that's not just bad luck or people being people. That's your soul leaving breadcrumbs, leading you back to the wound you keep outrunning. You don't heal this one by ghosting it or pretending it doesn't matter. This one's got your cosmic zip code. It will find you. Now, thanks to Venus in Gemini, you're being given the sacred, and slightly sassy, invitation to speak your truth. Yep, with words. And no, it doesn't have to be profound. It just has to be honest. Say the thing you've never said, not to be dramatic, but because it's time. Whether it's to a therapist, a trusted friend, your reflection, or your very confused houseplant, it counts. Boundaries aren't betrayals. Vulnerability isn't weakness. And if you find yourself weeping over a dusty 80s power ballad like it was written for your inner child, that's the universe DJing your healing playlist. Don't fight it. Turn it up. Because at the end of the day, healing doesn't always look like candlelight and mantras. Sometimes it looks like an Aries battle-worn but wiser finally realizing they don't have to earn their place in the world by burning themselves out for it. Alright Aries, let's talk about something most people would rather speed past, silence. And I know just hearing that word probably made you want to sprint in the opposite direction. But sometimes, healing isn't about shouting your truth from the rooftops or posting a 10-slide Instagram carousel about your emotional breakthroughs. Sometimes, it's about shutting up and listening. Yeah, I said it with love. Because real growth happens not just in expression, but in reception. That moment you feel your chest tighten when someone touches a nerve, or you suddenly get the urgent need to change the subject mid-convo. That's not bad timing. That's a cosmic post-it note saying, hey, this is where the wound lives. Sit with it. Don't scroll past it. Ask it questions. Now, this brings us to Chiron in Aries, also known as the I have to prove I belong here syndrome. This isn't just some modern millennial crisis, it's ancient. Passed down through generations, embedded in the psyche of those who feel the only way to deserve space is to earn it through effort. You've been taught, conditioned, and maybe even praised for your hustle, your grind, your go-go-go energy. But here's the secret, being is enough. Existing without the spreadsheet, without the gold star, without the 1000th to-do list is sacred in itself. You, chosen one, weren't put on this planet just to perform. And 2025? That's your year of triumph, not because you pushed harder, but because you finally remembered who you are underneath all that striving. Now let's talk about the source of that wound. It didn't begin with you. It was inherited from parents who were doing their best with limited tools, from a school system that valued achievement over authenticity, from a culture that whispered, you'll be loved, once you're successful enough. But that story? It's outdated. You don't have to keep dragging it around like a badge of honor. You're not broken. You're just conditioned. And the beautiful part? You can rewrite that myth. Right now. Drop that old narrative like it's a mixtape from an ex you've outgrown. The real you was never the wound. The real you is the one ready to heal it. Let's clear something up. Aries healing doesn't mean slapping a motivational quote over your trauma and pretending it never happened. This isn't about erasing the pain like it was some typo in your cosmic resume. No, real healing the kind Chiron teaches is about integration. It's saying, yeah, that pain happened. That scar is real. But here's how I'm going to carry it with wisdom instead of shame. You see, Chiron, the wounded healer of the Zodiac, doesn't hand you a bandage and say move on. He hands you a torch and says, light the way with what tried to break you. And honestly, that's some real soul alchemy. Now, I get it. You're Aries. The last thing you want is to feel weak. Vulnerability can feel like a four-letter word. But here's the twist: when you heal and own that vulnerability, you become unshakable. That rawness you hide? That's your superpower. When Aries transforms pain into purpose, it's not just inspiring, it's electric. Your fire isn't just for charging into battle anymore, it becomes the beacon that guides others through the dark. This is the moment when the chosen ones you rise. Not by pretending they were never wounded, but by showing others what it looks like to heal out loud. And if you're still trying to outrun the ache by doubling down at work, hitting the gym like it's a boxing ring, or starting fights just to feel something you already know it's not working, you can't out-hustle heartbreak. You can't outburn pain with more motion. This is the part where you stop. You sit. You breathe. You feel. Because stillness? It's not surrender. It's power. It's the exact moment when the fire stops consuming you and starts illuminating everything you were always meant to be. Absolutely, Aries. Pull up a chair, or better yet, Stand on it dramatically, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just cosmic weather, it's your soul's forecast. Chiron retrograde is coming on July 30th, and this Venus-Chiron portal? It's not just another spiritual pit stop. It's your personal warm-up for one of the most introspective chapters of your year. But fair warning, this isn't going to feel like a cozy journaling session with incense and lo-fi beats. Nope. It's 5 months of soul excavation, messy, raw, and deeply transformational. But here's the good news, Aries was built for this kind of fire walk. You're the sign of initiation. You don't just go through things, you burn through them. Now is your moment to map the territory. Right now, you've got cosmic daylight. Venus and Chiron are forming a rare sextile, shining a light on the terrain of your inner world. When Chiron shifts into retrograde, it's like spelunking into an emotional cave, only this time, you get to choose what gear you bring. What stories are you carrying? What wounds still whisper when you're alone? This is your chance to get clarity while the light's still on. And since Aries loves a good checklist, don't deny it, here are 7 steps to take before July 28th. 1. Create space, set aside at least 30 minutes a day. No phone, no noise, just your own presence. 2. Observe patterns, what keeps tripping you up. Notice without judgment. 3. Write it down, whether it's dreams, memories, or random thoughts, get them out of your head. 4. Face the truth, this isn't about being harsh. It's about being honest. You can handle it. 5. Talk about it, have the awkward conversation. Say the unsaid. Truth clears energy. 6. Practice self-compassion, talk to yourself like you would to your dearest friend. With love. 7. Set intentions, what are you really healing? Be specific. Name it to claim it. This portal is more than a moment, it's a crossroads. And the choices you make now don't just shape the next 5 months. They echo into your next chapter, your relationships, and the way you show up for life itself. Don't waste this opportunity trying to outrun your feelings or distract yourself with 1,000 tasks. Sit with it. Let it change you. Because here's the deeper truth, you're not just healing for yourself. You're healing for the version of you that leads others, loves harder, and lives with bold authenticity. This is the year of triumph for Aries, not because it's easy, but because you finally stop running and start rising. So slow down. Take a deep breath. And don't forget to enjoy your life while you're at it. Healing isn't a punishment, it's a return to who you've always been beneath the noise. And if this message resonated with you, support the journey. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Zodiac Talks Tarot. Because real transformation deserves real community. Now go do what Aries does best, start the fire, and lead the way.